You are listening to the Sports and Sorts podcast.
Going back choice, looking up, see ya! 3000, history.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Little roller up along first. Behind the back. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Oh wow, oh wow. Caught me by
Yes.
surprise. I can't believe it.
Something that was announced relatively recent. PlayStation's coming out with their retro game console about 25 years later from when the original was done. So I figured I had to go out there. But this is Sports and Sorts was obviously that part is a little sorts of this show. But you can play sports games on these consoles, so and I don't know if my name is Shane Moore. I'm one of your hosts.
And I be the bright man.
Oh.
It's international talk like a pirate, matey. Arr, I'd be doing the whole show like this, so you best get used to it. I'm just kidding. I will not do that. We'll lose so many listeners.
Oh my lord.
It's unfair, but
So the Bry Man is here.
arr, I'd be here.
And this is Sports and Sorts, episode 116.
Shane.
The intro was dedicated to the sorts side of things, and I would say the Bry Man's outfit and his whole attire and his personality today is also dedicated to the
Sorts!
side of things.
Aye, it be true, matey. Give me friends.
International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Cinnamon shirt and
That's a throwback right there.
a nice worn velvet jacket. Arr, look at these cuffs. Arr.
Oh my lord.
Ooh, it's so hot.
He's going to be dripping with sweat towards the end of the show. All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. And obviously, with the way that Bry Man's dressed, we got a great show. So let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bry Man.
I didn't mention it before, but you can obviously find us www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. You can also facebook.com/Shane and the Bry Man, where we go live every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. And Monday and Saturday, 9:45. Wednesday, 11. All right, so it'll be a 30-minute to an hour show, usually somewhere around 30 to 45 minutes, but today, hopefully a little shorter. We got a few things to talk about. Thursday Night Football. Jets versus the Browns. This is a game right here that I am very excited to talk about for many reasons, because I get to watch Sam Darnold again. I get to hear Bulls talk again.
Are you going to be able to get through this show like this?
No. And I hopefully get to see Tyrod Taylor play poorly and get the L so that the Browns are forced to put in Baker Mayfield, because I know Hugh Jackson will be feeling the extreme pressure and the curse of the Hard Knocks TV show that lives on.
Speaking of curses!
And on the flip side, it would also be fun to see the Browns get the win, because they haven't done it in so long. So, I mean, they might end up celebrating like they just won the Super Bowl, because they just got their first W in a long time. But I'm kind of excited to see this not so big of a matchup because I get to see Sam Darnold, who I've been very excited about since, last year before the draft. I thought he should go first overall. I thought he was going to be the most touted quarterback. I thought he was going to have the best upside as a quarterback in that draft. But I also possibly get to see Baker Mayfield if something goes awry with Tyrod Taylor. I get to see Tyrod Taylor, who was my quarterback last year, who I bashed quite a bit, play. Whether he does good or bad, I think it either could be a great thing or a great thing. I mean, really, if he does bad and they start the clock early on Baker Mayfield, awesome. Because I want to see what happens with this team under Baker Mayfield. I mean, this is a team that is just gone so off the rails in so many different directions, but they have a lot of talent. So we'll see what happens with them. I'm looking forward to this. I'm actually just going to go right into it. I'm going to give a score of this game. I expect the Jets to win this game in a close fashion at 27-24 to just add a little bit more heartbreak to the Browns and get another L for Tyrod Taylor, who will just kind of speed up that clock on Baker Mayfield. So I don't know if anybody else is listening out there. I don't know. I can't even see it right now because of all the windows that are up on my screen. But if you do, please go ahead and like this. Give us a like for the show. It helps get the word out. Also, if you have any comments about how you think the Jets and Browns are going to do, what do you think? Do you think,
or how I'm dressed,
or if you have an idea, you want to comment on the way that Prime Man's dressed? Go ahead. We'll take it all. We're good. All right. So that's my kind of thoughts on Thursday Night Football with the Jets versus the Browns. What are you looking at? What do you got for this Thursday night matchup? The Bry Man.
What should my pirate name be? Should it be like the Brybeard? Or the Beard Man?
I mean, I've called you the Beard Man before. I've called you. Oh man, I don't know.
Blackbeard is my favorite pirate.
Yeah, but you can't.
But I can't. I mean, I can't beat that. That's why I was saying the Brybeard.
The salt and pepper beard.
The Brybeard. Well, I'll tell you what. I know it's going to be hard for you to take me seriously during my assessment of this game, or basically for the next 40 minutes, but we'll do what we can. You know what? I am of the opinion that the Browns should be 2-0 right now. They really should be. If you look at the way they lost against the Steelers and absolutely the way they lost on the road to the Saints, there's no question that team should be 2-0. They really should. And, they did bring a kicker in, I think, this week. They got rid of, unfortunately, that poor guy who just it was a rough. That was rough. But very nice. Pirates. I think the Browns are going to get their first win in this one. I think last week sort of showed that the Jets are not as good as we thought they were because, as usual, you got to stop. The Jets are not what we thought they were after week one. I think they very quickly regressed to the mean in week two against the Dolphins. So I actually kind of like the Browns at home here. I think this is, I think they're going to be a little. We're going to see what happens without Josh Gordon, though, because now Josh Gordon is a member of the Patriots. That's something we're going to get into a little bit later. But I do think the Browns are going to be hurting on offense a little bit because of that. But they've been without him, for. Well, he was there in week one, but then did he play in week two?
Yeah.
Did he even do anything? He hasn't been. Let's be honest. In the first two games, he was not much of a factor.
I thought one touchdown.
Yeah, it didn't. Yes, you're right. He did score the one touchdown in week one, but I don't know. I don't love their offense without him in it. But then again, I don't know that he was as big a factor as he could have been. Mm-hmm. But I still like their chances in this game. They still have enough weapons to, I think, move the ball on a Jets defense that, although they were decent the other day against Miami, there were some kinks in the armor there. So but I feel like the Browns have been good enough to be 2-0, and they've just, between bad kicking and really in general special teams, has killed them. So I actually like them to get their first win of the year. I think you and I both thought they were going to be 7-9-ish to 8-8 kind of team. They got to get a win at some point.
Yeah.
This might as well be the week. That home against the Jets, who I don't think are anywhere near as good as we all think. I think it'll be a very close game because I don't think the Browns are capable of blowing anyone out. So my score is going to be 20-17 Browns.
Okay. All right. Good. I like that. And I think he was a late scratch last week.
Yeah, I
think he was.
I think he was too. I don't think he played.
I was trying to think about my fantasy football team because I have him on all three of my teams.
But even in the first game, he didn't catch that one touchdown until like the end. I mean, it was an important catch.
Yeah.
I think it was an important touchdown. But
now that they have Jarvis Landry, they were kind of using him more. It seemed like it's just the deep threat, which is he's much more than that. But
yes,
we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I mean, obviously.
I don't have much fantasy implications, I don't think, though, in this. Although I do have Josh Gordon on well, see, but Josh Gordon's the Patriots. See, I'm already thinking like that. I don't think I have anybody going in that game for any of my three teams. Do you have any Jets?
No.
I have Quincy Enunwa on one team, but he's a bench guy.
Yeah.
He's a good player, though. My brother and I were talking about that yesterday on the phone. Like, that guy he's got a big.
He's a real deal.
He's got a big build. He gets open. And he was hurt last year, so
yeah. You can go ahead and sound off in the comments if you have anything you want to hear, you want us to talk about, or anything like that, or if you have anything you want to chime in about either the way the Brian Man's dressed or about our picks are for the Thursday night football game. You can also give us a thumbs up. Click that thumbs up button. Helps us get the word out. Appreciate it. All right, so let's send. We were just talking about Josh Gordon a little bit. He landed in an organization I said would be the best fit for him, and now he is a New England Patriot.
That national nightmare has come to fruition.
So what does this mean for the AFC, the NFL, and for the Patriots? And I have said it many times over. If he can get his act together, this will extend the career of Tom Brady by a couple of years. Like that, if Josh Gordon can just get his act together under this organization, like they have done it before with players. Most importantly, this just goes to show this on the spectrum of what the Browns and the Patriots are. The Browns can't get out of their own way, and they seem to find trouble everywhere, where the Patriots just keep with their system and just sit back and wait. Like this time, they didn't have a wide receiver. Their wide receiver core was not so great early on. Now, it could go down as one of the great combinations of all time by the end of the season. I mean, Brady's boy, Edelman, he's a good receiver. One of the best tight ends ever, Bronx. And then you add a guy who could be the best wide receiver in the league if he could get his act together. You send him to an organization who has helped other misfits like, Randy Moss, get their act back together. I mean, this is bad, man. I mean, at least for me, the Bills aren't going to be really good for another 2 to 3 years, so I might be able to weather the storm a little bit. But because, I mean, the Bills are probably going to trade their number one pick to the Giants for even more draft picks next year. I mean, they're going to have 30 draft picks in the first 2 rounds next year. So we're going to be able to load up on the O-line and wide receivers or trade some of those picks to get a legit wide receiver. The Bills will be drafting every other pick next year, which is just kind of ridiculous and awesome and comical all at the same time. But how do you feel? I mean, what is this? How does it impact? Does this impact the NFL, or does it really just impact the AFC?
It'd be bad news, matey. On a number of levels, it's not good. I think I've said to you many times, if Josh Gordon is right, he's a top 10 wide receiver in this league. That's with the Browns. If he's right with the Patriots and Tom Brady, he's a top 5 wide receiver in this league. So, and the fact that he's still in his prime, 27.
Edelman's a top 8 wide receiver when he's with Brady.
He's,
he catches a lot of balls.
He does catch a lot of balls. He's certainly a very productive, but from a sheer talent perspective, just the physical specimen that Josh Gordon is and his skill set, when you put him with a guy 41 years old or not, Tom Brady, that's scary. That's a scary proposition. I mean, he is a top. If he is right and healthy and he doesn't fall off the wagon, he's a top 5 receiver in the league with Tom Brady. There's just no question about it. You are struggling to get through this. It's so great.
Every time I have you like just on the screen by yourself, and you're staring at the screen, and you're
like looking right, and I'm digging right into your soul there,
looking right into my eyes, and I just can't help but smile and laugh. And I have to get off the screen. I have to get off because I'm laughing too hard. I got to try to hold it, but you can still see me because we're on Skype.
I see you. I see you, and I'm enjoying it. But it's not good. The combination of him, Edelman when he comes back after week 4, so I guess he'll be back in week 5. Gronk, and then I feel like we're leaving somebody out there too.
Hogan.
Oh, yeah, God, Hogan. I mean, that's a nightmare. That is an absolute nightmare. I mean, it was going to be bad enough when Edelman came back, when you had him, a healthy Hogan, Gronk. If
the Patriots can get their defense together and just be that bend, not break defense again, this team is going to put up 40 points a week and then only give up like 25. They are just going to destroy team after team. I'm glad that I have Josh Gordon on all my teams. I'm glad that I have Tom Brady on one of my teams because these numbers are just going to be astronomical.
That's the thing, though. If you look at last week's game, a really good defense, like the Jags, should be able to control them enough that they can outscore them. And that is still the issue with the Patriots, is there has been no evidence through the first 2 weeks that their defense is any good. I mean, I would actually go on to say that they're porous. They're very un-Belichick-like, in that Belichick likes to be very creative. We know how creative he is on offense, and him and McDaniels can be on offense. But and usually on defense, they like to throw different looks your way, but I haven't seen any evidence of any of that creativity on defense. They look very vanilla to me on defense, and I don't really think they're scaring anybody. And I would say case in point is that you just allowed Blake Bortles to throw 4 touchdown passes and run up and down the field on you to the tune of almost 400 yards. So, and if you can't stop Blake Bortles, who is by skill set, let's be honest, a very average quarterback, if you can't control him, and what I would consider to be good,
they do have a hard time with mobile quarterbacks. They have for the last several years, and he is mobile enough.
He's mobile, but if you look at if you look at the weapons by comparison to what the Patriots have, I mean, Keem Cole, D.D. Westbrook, it's I don't know. There's nothing really scary about the Jags offense when you think about it on paper. And Fournette was injured. Yeah. So you were dealing with TJ Yeldon and Grant in the backfield. Mm-hmm. I mean, the point is the Patriots, got rolled on defense. And what's going to happen when they actually run into an offensive powerhouse? So I don't know. The Patriots are going to have to beat people the way they've been beating people, which is to outscore them. But once you get into the playoffs, that doesn't work anymore because there's too many good defenses in the playoffs.
Timothy St. Andrew writes,
yes,
ooh, Timmy. I can interrupt real time?
Of course you can.
Yes, you can. And we will be talking about the Yankees.
I like that his first comment had nothing to do with the fact that I am dressed like a pirate.
Yeah.
It was, I can interrupt real time.
Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
Absorbent in yellow and porosity. Don't start. I can sing.
Well, he said hi. He wanted to say hi. So, hello. Hey, I know you're probably not saying it to me, but you were saying it to the pirated one.
The pirated one. I kind of like that.
The pirate man. Anyway.
The white beard.
Yeah, whatever. The salty beard. All right. So that's kind of our issue. That's kind of our talk about the Patriots and everything like that. I mean, go ahead and throw in your comments about how you feel. What the Josh Gordon addition.
The impact.
Is going to mean. He said, no real surprise with the pirate hat, pal. He's wearing the coat, too, though. He's got a big, huge, long pirate coat on. I mean, this is like... I'm surprised he didn't go out and get his ear and nose pierced for the role and put a little black thing over his tooth.
It's so hot.
Where's the rum? Do you have any mead?
Why is all the rum gone?
Where's the mead? You got plenty of mead.
Mead.
Wait.
I want some of that autumnal mead.
Dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly.
All right, so let's get in. You know what? Real quick, before we get into the next topic over in Steel City, let's quickly play our commercial, and we'll be right back after that.
Pebbles drop deep to left field. Golden back choice.
and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman. 75% sports and 25% sorts.
Who is the commercial? Who's running the commercials here? Is it Nancy? Nancy! Nancy. Do you have a pirate voice for Nancy? Can you say something about Nancy in pirate voice? If she just dropped the ball on our commercial. Totally sloppy producer work.
Dead women tell no tales.
All right, so let's get into the Steel City. Steel City got some issues, bro. Got some issues, bro. Antonio Brown.
Not going well.
Antonio Brown does not show up to practice after scuffling online with a former Steeler employee, Ryan Scarpino. Scarpino says AB needs to thank his lucky stars because he was drafted by a team that had Ben, and Ben got AB paid. You know darn well he wouldn't put up those numbers for other teams. Antonio Brown responded, "Trade me, let's find out." Now, this team is an absolute joke. And I have been calling for this a while now. And sometimes a coach, whether he is good or not, he can run his course with his team. And Pete Carroll with the Seahawks is one of those teams. Mike Tomlin is another coach of one of those teams. And it's time to move on from these two guys to find leadership that can wrangle in these players. Wrangle them back a little bit, get to the business of winning football again and not having a circus in the locker room or on the field. Like, it is just absolutely out of control. I don't think Tomlin's ever going to be able to wrangle it back in unless he absolutely does what Antonio Brown said, as they figure out a way to trade him, which would be horrible for that franchise. They need to figure something out. They're having issues with Le'Veon Bell. Now they're having another issue with another B, which is Antonio Brown. I mean, once or twice every season, Ben Roethlisberger tends to spout off at the mouth. Like last year, he said, I might just retire at the end of the season. And then, of course, he's back again this year. So, obviously, he was just kind of talking. So, I don't know. What do you do with this team?
It's obvious.
The pirated one.
It is obvious that Mike Tomlin is starting to lose his locker room. And I think
It's been going on for years.
Serious evidence of this, though, now. Because, you're right. It actually kind of does go back to last year. Because he didn't really seem... If you go back to last year... with the whole issue of the Steelers not coming out, for the national anthem, and you had one guy who kind of came out and stood, and then, the rest of the – and then there was – the one thing that shocks me about
the locker room issue, too, with, like, the FaceTime Live and all that sort of stuff. There's just so much stuff like that happens all the time.
For an organization that has had as much success as they have had, they're not very well buttoned up. But Tomlin seems to allow his players to express their personality, which is fine. But at some point, too, you also have to be a leader, and his leadership skills have to be in question. I know he's a players coach. Players like him. They like playing for him. He's a rah-rah guy, and that's great. But I think you need to find – I think a really great coach is a guy like – honestly, and I know he's only in his, second or third year, but Doug Peterson to me is a really great coach. He's a good balance there between being a player's kind of guy, but a guy who clearly can keep the men in that locker room in order.
Yeah.
And Tomlin just can't keep the guys. And I'm not saying that Tomlin is a bad coach, but part of coaching is keeping your locker room in order. And the issue with Antonio Brown is a little different than Le'Veon Bell, because Le'Veon Bell is on a franchise tag. He's not even technically under contract. Antonio Brown, on the other hand, is under contract, a big contract that he got because of Big Ben, I guess, which is so ridiculous. But he's under contract. You've got to control your guys that are under contract. Sorry. I mean, you can't have them just taking days off. Like, I'm just not going to show up for work today. What? Get it under control, Mike Tomlin. get Antonio Brown in there. And now I know Monday was not a practice day. It's I guess it's more of like a tape day, game film, meetings and stuff like that. It's not an actual practice. That doesn't matter. He didn't show up to the building. Do your job, as Tom Brady was screaming at his teammates last week. I mean, do your job, Antonio Brown. Get in the building, but also at the same time, if you're Mike Tomlin, do a better job of wrangling your players, man.
He was not.
I mean, he was doing his job.
He was not doing that.
No, he wasn't. And this is an issue for Tomlin. It really is. He gives that team more than enough rope, to hang himself with. And he's going to be. I don't think his job is in jeopardy this year, to be honest.
I don't understand this. This has been going on for years with this team.
I know, but I think one more year of it though, and
then
yes,
the window's closed at that point in time, though. I mean, they're at the point where they're going to lose Le'Veon Bell next year. Probably.
Yeah,
so, they are so – this is just outrageous.
I think, though, if James Conner can prove to be if he could at least be an adequate fill-in and a replacement for Bell, then I think he'll be okay. But if not, and they have a losing record this year maybe, and they maybe if they're somehow in danger of not making the playoffs – then yeah, Tomlin's gonna have a big problem this offseason. As of right now, I do not think Mike Tomlin is in danger of losing his job. Not yet. But he is 100% on the hot seat, and he is 100% under the microscope. So we'll see. I think he's okay for now, but there are leaks in the hole here.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, if there was any. There's so many cracks in this ship. It's just sinking. It is just sinking and sinking and sinking.
It's really good on International Talk Like a Pirate Day that we're making, ship analogies.
I had to do something. Deb George. I don't know if you saw this.
Hi, Deb. I'll see Deb. Hi, Deb. I'll see you on Friday. I'm very excited to see her on Friday. Deb is a close personal friend and my former 2-time boss, and I love her very much. So
okay.
I'm sure she's wondering why I look like a complete ass clown, but it's International Talk Like a Pirate Day, and I'm hot, but I'm taking one for the team.
You are completely
very warm
this day.
I can actually feel myself swelling. It's so hot.
Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much that. I mean, that's all we got really for. I mean, it is just I don't understand how you can't at this point start getting rid of, or at least working on slowly getting away from the Tomlin, or the Tomlin-led ship here. He is no longer your captain. You have to get him off the ship. You have to bounce him out. It's done.
He is dealing with a mutiny right now in some ways. Is he not? I mean, if you think about it, you've got Antonio Brown not showing up to work. Le'Veon Bell is down in clubs. By the way, have you seen some of the pictures of Le'Veon Bell? He's dancing in clubs right now, and he looks overweight. He looks like he's put some weight on. He is not, even if he came back to the team this week, he's not in playing shape by any means. So Mike Tomlin is dealing with a literal mutiny in some ways right now. But this really tied together much better than I thought this week. It worked out well.
And then, what does a pilot drive? A car.
He needs to walk the plank.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes, so good, so good. And then Deb said, "You said swelling."
Yes, she does. She shares our sophomoric sense of humor. So yeah.
Oh my God. Uh-oh. We got another joke here. Why did the young pirate go to the movies?
Why?
All right, come on, Mark. You got seconds to go. Let's see what you got.
We're dead air time right now.
And then Ronnie Perot. I'll put his in a second. Why did the young pirate go to the movies? It has to do with something, an R-rated movie, right? It was
right, R-rated.
It's
gonna be R. It was rated R. It was rated R.
And then we have another pun. Ronnie Perot. He definitely needs to find a way to right the ship. I don't know if there's any way to right that ship. All right, so let's get on to we're gonna shift over to the Yankees and the Red Sox. But before we get to that, real quick, I just want to throw out a little Nick and Vince podcast. I want to promote that a little bit. And then I want to get into a reason why I'm promoting their podcast, because there's something a little bit more about this than just his podcast. All right, so we'll be right back after this. And here is the Nick and Vince podcast. We'll be back in like 30 seconds.
All right, we'll be back.
Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Vince.
And we're from the Nick and Vince podcast, where we talk about arts, movies,
comic books,
history, science, really anything pop culture related.
But we also have...
we have occasional guests like podcasters, authors, and comedians.
Well, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podbean.
You can also like our Facebook page, Nick and Vince Podcast, and follow us on Twitter
at Nick and Vince. And now, back to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bry Man.
Okay, so we are back, and the reason why I wanted to play his podcast is because Nick of the Nick and Vince podcast, he actually wrote a graphic novel.
Really?
And he has it published, and he is offering a digital copy of it for $5. Yet 75 pages for $5. You can order it now. I think it might be on Indiegogo. So yeah, definitely go there and check that out, because I'm actually gonna purchase this and I'm gonna read it because I wanna check it out. I like graphic novels. I wanna see if it's something that maybe my son can read. I don't know. We'll see. I obviously have no idea what kind of rating this would receive, but I'm interested in it. So I wanted to give him a shout out. I noticed this about a week or so ago, but I wanted to make sure that we can get that on there for him. So yeah, congratulations, Nick, on finally getting your graphic novel done.
Yeah, congrats. That's awesome.
That's really cool. That's it's doing a little bit more with your life than me. I'm sitting here with a freaking pirate.
Can't really argue. I mean, for Christ's sake, look at me. I walked out. I put this on. I was upstairs, right? And I walked out, and Melissa happened to walk out at the same time. And I said, "Don't ask." And she's like, "Oh my God." She's like, "Is this for the podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." So here we are.
I love you. I love you.
Yeah.
I signed on to Skype, and finally it pops up, and he's dressed up like that. I almost fell out of my chair.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure you had questions.
All right, so let's get into the Yankees and the Red Sox. Obviously, the Yankees won last night, barely. We have been talking about the differences between the Red Sox and the Yankees over the course of the season a little bit. The Yankees bullpen to the Red Sox blowpen, and in my opinion, the biggest difference between these two teams showed its face on one play yesterday. One play. And that was JD Martinez, the guy who was in one of the front runners for the MVP, and his team has already clinched a playoff berth and is one win away from clinching the East, busts his butt out of the box and hustles to a triple on a ball in the gap that should have only been a double. But Aaron Hicks lollygagged it. JD Martinez slides into third fairly easily because Red Sox are playing hard, and their best hitters hustling all around the bases, hustling his butt off, so the rest of the team follows suit. Hustling is infectious and especially when your best players are doing it. And that is the biggest thing that separates these two teams right now. And it really saddens me because this is something we never had to deal with our captain before. We had a captain that hustled his butt off every single time, ran down the line. And yes, there were some players like Cano who wouldn't bust his butt down the line every once in a while. Obviously, he's in Seattle now. So there are people that do that, but we have a bunch of them now. Like Gary Sanchez is notorious for it. Aaron Hicks apparently does it in the outfield. You have yesterday, even Torres, Gleyber Torres, he was doing it. Like he in the field, he just isn't even. He's like flat-footed out there. You can't be flat-footed as a second baseman.
Yeah.
These are a lot. There are a lot of issues with this, and it's really starting to show its face right now. It's ridiculous. So it's one of those things that makes me really nervous going forward. I feel like this is more like, and it's not even that in this way. I mean, it feels like more like the 97 Yankees after the 96 win. Like they were kind of the favorites going in, and they just dropped the ball. And it's not because they weren't playing hard. It just, they just didn't play as well as they should have. But then they came back and really stepped up their game. They lit the fire under them. Like, okay, we have to play hard all the time in order to, do this. And 98 was one of the greatest teams of all time. So I'm hoping that that's what happens with this team, because as of right now, I'm seeing no signs of, anything great going forward. But they did get the win yesterday. Aroldis Chapman comes back today. Aaron Judge was in the lineup yesterday. Got a lot of positive things to look forward to. I'm hoping that, Aaron Judge being back in the lineup, swinging the bat pretty well, which was, pretty surprising. I don't know if he'll be back in the lineup today, if they're going to kind of give him some rest to rest his, hand or wrist and whatnot. But
no, he needs to play. He needs reps. If you want it, I mean, they're going to either be on the road in Oakland in a couple of weeks, or they're going to be hosting a game. That joke was great, by the way. What do you call a pirate with two eyes and two legs?
I have it right here. I put it on the screen. A rookie.
A rookie. Which ties in so well. You've tied in a pirate theme and sports.
Yes,
really
exactly.
well done, Deb.
Hey, there you go. She says go.
Very well done. Well, she's in marketing, so look. Yeah, this Yankee team, I actually was texting this to the guys last night. This Yankee team right now, it's like watching the Dolphins. Even in victory, there is no joy. Like, they were throwing the ball around the infield in the ninth inning like little leaguers. You know what? I shouldn't insult little leaguers like that, because if you see some of the little leaguers in the Little League World Series, they're more fundamentally sound than Gleyber Torres and Zach Britton. I mean, for the first one was Gleyber Torres' fault. You got to catch that ball. 100%. The second one, Zach Britton basically just,
I would make a case that Gleyber should have still stopped the ball.
Should have stopped. I mean, he was still flat. He was flat. He was culpable on
two times in a row. He was flat-footed going to second base, and you can't have that. You have to be on the balls of your feet.
But and I'm sorry, at that point in the game too, late in the game, you were basically playing against most of the Red Sox AAA players at that point. I mean, Sam Travis was in the game. I don't know. There's really not a lot to look forward to in Yankee land here. It just looks like it looked like a comedy of errors last night. It was like Abbott and Costello on the field,
especially late. Yeah, I'm hoping that now that they have their actual anchor back, that the bullpen will start righting their ship again, because they have just been so inconsistent.
Here's the good news. For the first time in, I guess we can say 2 months, the Yankees are whole again. They are as healthy, probably, as they could possibly be. Okay, so they're whole again. Now let's use these last, I think it's 11 games, to work out the kinks and put the best possible product you can on the field for that early October game, hopefully in the Bronx against Oakland.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing I want to talk about, especially based off of last night's performance, is there any question at this point? I mean, is there any question at all that J. Happ needs to start this game? In my mind, no. He needs the ball, because you know what? He's had one bad game since he's been traded here. He is so solidified and anchored this rotation, especially when you consider how bad Severino has been since the All-Star break. I mean, Happ's been a godsend. They've needed him. He's not a nice to have. He was a necessity at this point. And now that necessity is going to kind of see itself through into the wild card game, because in my opinion, he needs to be the guy with the ball in that game. That is a winner-take-all game against what is going to be a very game Oakland team, regardless of location. He should have the ball in his hand for that game. If he falters early, you have Severino there to come in. But to me, that game has to be started by J. Happ. I don't even know that you could make a good argument at this point for Severino or Tanaka. Happ has absolutely proven his worth in his time here. I want him with the ball in that game.
I would disagree. Mainly because Masahiro Tanaka, since the All-Star game, has pitched much better than J.A. Happ, and he's been more consistent.
My concern with him, though, is that he is so prone to that one mistake pitch. You know he's going to give up a home run. The question is it going to be with men on base, and is it going to be a crooked number, or is it going to be a solo shot? but he is going to give up a home run if he pitches in that game. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. The question is, how many guys will be on base?
Yeah, that doesn't really matter much to me. I guess it depends.
Well, it certainly matters if there's 3 guys on base.
It probably depends to me where they play. If they play in Oakland...
Well, if they play in Oakland, probably not as big a deal.
I would say Tanaka is probably the way to go. If they play in Yankee Stadium, maybe Happ at that point in time. They're going to go with Severino. I mean, that's just what they're going to do because, they don't...
Do you really think so?
I would not be shocked if Boone does that. I mean, why?
But look, I don't even know if that's Boone's call. Do you even think that's Boone's call? I would imagine he would have weigh-in on that, but I don't know. I almost wonder if Cashman is trumping that, or they would call it an organization. They'd call it a quote-unquote organizational decision. But
I doubt it. I mean, I would think that, he is their ace, and that's what they're going to go for.
If Severino starts that game and it's Boone's call and they lose that game, Severino gets whacked.
Uh-huh.
I'm done with Boone.
Well, I said I was pretty much one and done with him already. I mean, even if he goes deep into the playoffs, I mean, he just has made so many mistakes.
Because I can live with it if Happ starts the game and Happ falters and doesn't pitch well and they lose. I can live with that because Happ, to me, deserves the ball in that game. But I don't know. I hate this idea too that Mark and so many, either Yankee fans or non-Yankee fans are throwing out there that this is a potential 100-win team and we're talking about them like they're bad.
Yeah.
If you watch them every game though, like we have watched them, that 100 it's a facade. It's like a smoke screen. It's hiding a lot. That early record, that record that they accumulated, especially early in the season, and now they've essentially played a lot of 500 baseball in the second half. I'm sorry, but you can't really take that too seriously. You have to look at what's in front of you. This team right now does not pass the eye test. They are not one of the 3. I don't even think they're one of the 3 or 4 best teams in baseball. I would have the Red Sox, the Astros, the Indians, probably even the Cubs ahead of them in terms of teams that I would trust more in the postseason at this point. Yes, we are spoiled. We're spoiled by championships, but try not to, don't look at it, and don't look at like the big picture here. You actually have to sort of look at it within the vacuum of this season only.
Yeah.
You can't bring the big picture of the Yankees history into this. You have to look at what's happening in front of you. And right now, what's happening in front of you, this Yankee team, don't be fooled by that record. Yeah, they might win 100 games this year, but are they really that good? I would say no, because they could finish with the second best record in baseball. Are they the second best team in baseball? I do not believe they are. I would say the Astros are firmly the second best team in baseball behind Boston. And then I'd put Cleveland in there, especially if Josh Donaldson is healthy. Mm-hmm. And that lineup is frightening. You've got Kluber and Bauer and Carrasco. And then on top of that, what the Cubs, with the additions that they had, Daniel Murphy, that's a scary, lengthy lineup too. I don't know. I can't put the Yankees in that conversation unless I see something within these last 11 games where they can get on fire, maybe start blowing some teams out. But even still, you're at the end of the season. A lot of these teams might not have a lot to play for other than trying to maybe push the Yankees into playing a road game in Oakland.
And another thing to just kind of give you a little information as far as like postseason goes. J.A. Happ in the postseason has gone, let me see if I have it real quick. It's right here. J.A. Happ has had 3 years, 6 series in the playoffs with a 3.72 ERA. And he has a .500 winning percentage. All right, so 3.72, not bad. And he's 1-1 in 6 series. Tanaka, on the other hand, he's pitched 3 series, 2 years. He's 2-2, .500 also, but with a 1.44 ERA in the postseason.
Good. I mean, I can't argue with.
And you got to remember, World Baseball Classic. he was a stud and the MVP of the league, I believe, that year. He pitches in big games. He pitches well in big games. So I would have probably my first person to lean towards if we're talking no Severino, which I think neither one of us would be fully complete. He's been better as of late, but not still not as consistent as he was.
Let's see what he does. He's pitching tonight, I think, right?
Yes,
Let's see what he does tonight.
So that'll be
I don't know what kind of lineup the Red Sox are going to trot out there tonight, but
yeah,
it's kind of irrelevant. You just got to pitch well. You got to show that your stuff is back.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And then we can start to really get excited because if you have Happ, Tanaka, and Severino all pitching well going into the postseason, then you have a legit shot against anybody. You have a legit shot. With that lineup and everything, you have a legit shot. Now, Ronnie had posted a little while ago, please make Gary Sanchez suck less, and thank you. That's something that we're going to have to talk about maybe in the offseason and all that stuff because they have to do some work with him. Either he just doesn't have the reactions for a catcher. He seems like when anybody
doesn't know how to position the glove.
Severino, well, it's not just that. It's like he can't anticipate it. He can't anticipate the drop of a Britain, sinker. He can't anticipate the movement of Severino's fastball. He's having a hard time anticipating that stuff, which is bad because he
seems lazy in that sense.
Yeah, I don't know if it's lazy. I just don't know if he just can't anticipate.
No, I mean, I almost feel like he's lazy in his studies in a way. He's just I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's
something's lazy with him all year. He's been
the problem is
brutal offense and
defense. All of his other issues, not really running hard down the line, the poor defensive play behind the plate.
Yep.
All of that is magnified, especially when you consider he's not even hitting his weight.
No.
And he strikes out a lot. Honestly, his best moment last night was that he drew a walk before Neil Walker hit that.
And I was actually shocked. I was shocked that he let
I was shocked too. I thought he was going to strike out.
All right, so we have real quick. I just want to touch on the Captain Marvel trailer so we can get into a little bit of sorts. But we are going to be out of here in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Captain Marvel trailer dropped. It was pretty, I think most people thought it was pretty glorious. It was a really
fantastic,
really, really well done trailer. You got to see the helmet the helmet with the hair sticking out.
One might
really
say
cool.
that trailer was marvelous.
You couldn't do marvelous.
Marvelous.
What's going on? My wife just signed on. What is going on here?
Christine, it's National Talk Like a Pirate Day, and so here I am.
So he not only has talked like a pirate throughout the show, and there's been lots of pirate puns.
Good pirate puns.
And pirate jokes. But, oh my gosh. Oh my God. This whole thing just made me think of Rules of Engagement, where the guy he was a cheerleader in school, and his team was named the Pirates, and he keeps going on. He's like, we're not, what did he say? We're not, I can't remember oh my Lord, I can't wait. It's like, we're not this, but pirates. We're not this, but pirates. We're but pirates.
Oh boy.
Oh my Lord. So anyway, my wife knew what was going on. Lots of puns, lots of pirate stuff. Talk like a pirate, dress like a pirate, all that kind of fun stuff. All right. So anyway, Captain Marvel. Great trailer. Can't wait to watch the movie. It looks phenomenal. Can't wait to see the battle with him and with her and Thanos. We can possibly talk about that a little bit more, but
good one.
There you go.
True.
Yeah,
some Buccaneers talk.
Yeah.
So I will tell you though that trailer had me at hello because it started off with a Blockbuster video scene, and as you know, I worked at Blockbuster for 3 years, so that. Yes, Mark, you're right. Things are getting awkward here. And so hot. Anyways, it was a great trailer. I can't wait. I really can't wait. I think it's going to be. That looks like a great movie. And the talk of the internet, of course, has been the scene with her, slugging the old lady.
Yes.
It's like the internet's getting mad about that. You don't even know the context under which that happened. Calm down.
Seriously.
God, internet.
Hey. Old people are people too, and if they're douches, sometimes you gotta slug them in the face.
Seriously. Get an old bag every now and then. I mean, you don't know the context of that part of the movie.
Yeah.
Stop commenting on it. Everybody wants to call, it's just not a...
They're trying to deal. Not only are they trying to deal with like having race all throughout, they're also dealing with ageism. They want to make sure that old people can get punched too.
Right.
That's it. They're just trying to incorporate everybody. Relax, people. Relax.
Right. It's called inclusion. Okay. Get a clue. That's a man. What if it is?
Oh,
see,
man.
that's what I mean.
Oh,
what if the next scene is she rips the wig off and that's a dude underneath?
Here's the plan. We get the warhead and we hold the world ransom for $1 million. $1 million.
This is a little mix from a buddy of mine, Jay Spring. DJ Jay Spring. He made this a long time ago, and it is glorious. So good, so good. All right, so anyway, we are on our way out.
Speaking of movies, though, I saw last night a sneak preview of The House with a Clock in Its Walls.
Oh, yeah, you said it was good.
It was a mouthful of a title, but I gave it an 8 out of 10 Cinebros score.
Wow.
Cinebros.
Whoa.
I gave it an 8 out of 10. I was just like floored by that movie because I had, you know what I like? I like going into movies these days with zero expectations. But this was one of those ones. It was very like in that, I'll kind of almost compare it. My approach to it was very much like Guardians of the Galaxy. I went in with like no expectations at all. And I came out like, wow, this was like a really fun flick. It was really funny. I loved the humor. I liked the back and forth between Jack Black and Cate Blanchett. It was a really well done movie. It had like a little bit of like a Goosebumps kind of vibe to it, but it was a surprisingly good story. I took Isabel, my 9-year-old. She loved it. I mean, it was really good. Go take, and it's a PG film, so totally fine for kids. Take the kids this weekend. Really, really excellent movie. I don't know what the early reviews are on it on Rotten Tomatoes, if there's even any out there yet. I don't know if there's a critic consensus, but man, fun movie. Go see it. Take your kids this weekend. Great flick.
All right.
8 out of 10.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it for our show. We are. My name is Shane Moore. You can find me on Twitter at Einhornisfinkel.
And I be Brybeard. You can find me at the _Bry_man.
And you can find the show at Shane and Bryman. You can find us Facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman live every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Mondays and Saturdays at 9:45 a.m. and Wednesdays at 11 a.m. And like I said, 30 minutes to an hour show every week and or every day. And Ronnie says, "See you later, chum."
I'm going to head over to the chum bucket later.
But before we sign off, I have to play this, and then we are out. I hope you had a good time listening to the show. Please, see you again next week. And don't hesitate to give this video a thumbs up if you're watching still. Give it a thumbs up. Helps us get the word out. Thank you very much. And here you go.
Thumbs up with your...
Let's go. That's right. We're pirates. Not sailors, but pirates. But pirates. But pirates. There's no need to remind us. The football team's behind us.
Oh, boy. Stay classy, Panic Glover.
You can find Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman on iTunes or www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com.